Businessman Jason Rohde in the High Court in Cape Town. The defense and the state submitted their closing arguments yesterday. Rohde is accused of murdering his wife Suzanne at the Spier Wine Estate near Stellenbosch in July 2016. Her body was found in a bathroom of their hotel where she and her husband were staying. Rohde has pleaded not guilty. Now, for more on the story, across live to our reporter Vanessa Poonah, who is outside the Cape Town High Court. Hey, Vanessa, just give us a sense of, what we can expect. Yesterday, we understand the state and the defense concluded their arguments. What came out?
Yes, indeed. The state and defence concluded their closing arguments here in the Cape Town High Court behind me yesterday. And of course, one day has been set aside for judgment. And of course, Judge Hayat Shlope expected to deliver that judgment in just under an hour or so. Now, if I can give you some of the background, it is the state's contention that Jason Rohde had indeed murdered his wife. There is also a charge of defeating the administration of justice against him. The state believes that he strangled his wife, and that, of course, at a work function at the Spier Wine Estate in July 2016 after a heated argument during that work function. Now, he, of course, was a property mogul for the group Sotheby's, and his wife had then insisted on attending that work function. Of course, throughout this trial, Jason Rohde had conceded and admitting to have had an extramarital affair, also saying during court proceedings that just because one is guilty of adultery does not make one guilty of murder. And you rightfully said just now that he has pleaded not guilty to this murder charge against him. Of course, it is the defence's contention that Susan Rohde had committed suicide, and throughout the trial we've seen forensic evidence and others for and against the state and defence's arguments. Now, we do expect judgment to be delivered in a short while. I have not yet seen Jason Rohde coming into court this morning. We do know that he has been granted bail of 1.1 million rand, and of course he'll be making a short appearance, or rather not a short appearance, he'll be appearing shortly when this matter gets underway here at 10 o'clock at the Cape Town High Court behind me.
Vanessa, tell us about some of the witnesses that were called during this trial.
You would understand that there would have been witnesses on both sides, and especially forensic witnesses, pathologists, for example. And we know that the state pathologist saying that the ligature points to strangulation, and of course that is why the state, shortly after Susan's body was found, then suspected foul play. Whereas on the defence's side, of course, one of their expert witnesses saying that the ligatures around her neck could be as a result of the cord, the hair cord, curling tongue cord caused around her neck. And of course she was found partially hung in the bathroom of the hotel room at the Spier Wine Estate. That's just some of the evidence that would have come out during this trial, and of course the closing arguments now wrapped up. It all depends on the presiding judge on what version of events she would accept, whether she would accept that the state had proven beyond reasonable doubt that Susan Rohde was indeed murdered, as opposed to the defence's contention that she committed suicide, and of course due to those marital problems that had come out during the course of this trial.
Yeah. What sort of public interest, Vanessa, has this case garnered?
You would understand that the murder of a woman specifically, or the alleged murder of a woman, is not something new. It's not a new case that is heard here in this Cape Town High Court behind me. We've, over the past week alone, seen judgment in the Hannah Cornelius case, of course. The brutal killing of a 21-year-old Stellenbosch University student. Just yesterday, judgment in the Courtney Peters matter, a 3-year-old girl who was brutally killed, raped, and then of course her body left in a ditch, in a field in the Epping industrial area. People in Cape Town have come out for these various trials. We've seen throughout this and other trials that there has been huge public interest. People are keeping a close watch, and I expect more of the same today, as people, community members, those affected would want to see justice, would want to see closure to the killing allegedly by the hands of a husband, if that is indeed the case, if that indeed is what this court finds behind me. So there has been tremendous public interest, not just in this murder trial, but in other murder trials that have rocked the core of sensibilities across communities in Cape Town and the Western Cape and the like.
You've been covering some tough cases of late, Vanessa Poonah. We appreciate your reporting. Vanessa Poonah coming to us live from the Cape Town High Court. Thank you very much indeed.